Hello, everyone. When they say governance is everything, and some people think it's a joke. One policy, one wrong policy can destroy everything that someone has ever done. It can render somebody, you know, it can throw someone into poverty, and that's it. That the person can never ever recover from. People think politics is a joke. It's not a joke. It's actually fighting for our lives at this moment. Everybody should be interested in politics, but hey, we have religious rulers who are telling us that as soon as we pray, everything will be okay, because Nigerians think that they have the patent, to prayers. Anyway, when they say that if they explain Nigeria to you and you understood, they did explain it to you very well. This is a classic case here. Nigeria banned shea nut export to help women profit. They backfired. I'm reading it, I'm ready, like, this thing doesn't make sense, but we're going to read it together and see. So Nigeria, it's shea butter. For those of you who know this shea butter, that shea nut that they use in making shea butter, that is good for the skin and some skin material that they use it for. So Nigeria is one of the biggest producers of it. I think we contribute about 40%, and that it's mainly something that women do, the business that women do, and all of that. All of a sudden, you know what Nigeria decided to do? So the shea butter was quite expensive. It's a bit the share this thing, but of course, you know how these things are. If you transform it, instead of selling just the raw material, if you are able to, transform it and how, what's the word that they use, turn it into different products, you actually end up making more profit. Nigeria decided to ban the exports of shea butter with the hope that it is going to, the women will make more money. How? You've not given them capacity for them to be able to have resources, that the industries that they can use to do this. In the meantime, there's a particular company that is started. So maybe someone somewhere, someone they pulled the string, and then they now made it ban the whole export, and now the whole shea butter price has come down. You know what it is, and the difference is it's not that small, from 1 point something to now like 800 and whatever. What this means is that I know a lot of people are like, yeah, but it's good now, let the prices come down. There are people who are in that business who, because of this policy, this thing has just crashed. They're going to lose everything. And now the something is with you, nobody will be buying, because how many of us actually bother about shea butter in Nigeria? It's the people that are outside that are buying it. What you needed to do is look for how do you increase production so that you are able to still give to the ones who are doing the industry here, and still be able to sell to the one who are outside. You think this is true, but hey, people just wake up and make laws. That's how the other day, even the Niger State governor decided that they will no longer be selling food to anybody that comes from outside of Niger to come in. And I'm wondering, how do you think your people are going to survive? All those people that farm, then it's only your people, the small money that's in your people's hand. That's the only thing they will be depending on. But Nigerians, when we time for election, we think we are doing someone. I will not vote your candidate. Let's continue now. I will not stop suffering the suffering. But anyway, rows of women sit low on the ground in the central Nigerian town of Bida, holding sticks that rise and fall in steady rhythm. This is BBC reporting. The air is filled with dull thud of wood against shell. The dark sun-dried brown exterior of the shell fruit giving way to reveal the hard nut inside. The procedure, harvested in the wild after falling from the trees, is being ready for the middlemen to collect and then supply factories. These are the early stages of a process that ends with shea butter on the counters of cosmetic shops across the world, as well as in other products such as chocolate. Women in Nigeria, which account for nearly 40% of the world's shea crop, are the heart of the industry, but their livelihoods have been threatened by a dramatic recent change in government policy. In late August, in the midst of the harvest session, the authorities announced a 6-month ban on the export of raw nuts. 6 months. Hey, people that they put their life, that is, that you not say that they won't sell it. Meanwhile, we are supposed to be looking for export, to do export, to get in exchange and all of that. What you should be doing is that you're working on how to increase, how to increase your production to be able to have more to export. The intention was to boost local production of the finished butter as opposed to the north, and so increase the amount of the profit which stays in Nigeria. But the sudden shift has led to fall in demand for the shea nut, and there's not enough local capacity to process all of the country's harvest. The reduction in demand has led to a collapse in the price of shea nuts, which in turn has meant that the income from their work is no longer enough for the women to live on. In Niger State alone, where Bida is located, hundreds of thousands of women are believed to depend on part of the shea butter production chain. They talked about a Hajara to Isa, 40, who is 40, who has been preparing the food in all her adult life, tells BBC that the government's new policy has left her family, and other women in the community struggling to survive. I tell you, there are many people who are going to go bankrupt because of this policy. I used to be one of those Nigerians who never knew the effect of policy. I was doing my business, having my life. I don't have time for government until 2011, 2012, when government policies nearly to make me bankrupt. Till today, I can't tell you. I don't even know how I survived that particular period. Years later, when I was looking back, I realized that my 39th birthday, I didn't even know it was my 39th birthday. That was 12th of December, 12th of December 2012. And that day I wrote a letter to my producer in China, and I was just saying, stop all production, stop it. Something is happening in my country. I don't get it. I mean, a lot of my family members were worried for me, when you're losing money so much. And I remember one of the things that saw me through was me one day sitting down and just saying to myself, Aisha, you used to go to school in the morning without breakfast. Coming back, you were not expecting lunch. You grew up poor. I saw my father losing everything. My father was a businessman who had his business doing well, and overnight he lost everything and became bankrupt. And that has always been at the back of my mind. And I'm like, I'm not gonna. This is history is not gonna repeat itself. I remember throughout that, guess the history is not gonna repeat itself. I'm gonna sit down and fight this through. And I said to myself, and for you to have the capacity to be able to lose this amount of money, that is also growth in its way. And I think that thinking, that mentality, really helped me a lot in just changing the things that needed, to be changed, and my mind just getting into that particular, mindset. So I know what it is, this government policy, but for all of this to be done, and for government to just wake up and just say, you are banning import, you are banning export. How does that work? I don't get it. It's just so this is the thing also, and you see, this is all about corruption, nepotism, cronism, and all of that. And so there's this thing. This one, I'm just trying to read down. One of the key projects driving this change is a factory owned by Salid Agriculture Nigeria Limited in Kudu, also in Niger State. The plant, which is owned by an ally of the current government, has been described as Africa's largest facility dedicated to just producing shea butter, boasting an annual production capacity of 30,000 tons. It aims to produce butter for cosmetics, food, and pharmaceutical. The export ban came into effect just 2 weeks after this new factory was opened, but overall, there are not enough processing plants in Nigeria to cope with all the shea nuts that could be, harvested. Traders are now finding that they have stock that they can only sell at a loss. The ban is not fair. Had there been notification, would have prepared. One meeting matters. You needed to notify people. Now you are going to have a monopoly where you now have only one buyer, and they can tell you they buy it at any whatever rate that they're going to buy it at. This particular ban already, I can tell you for a fact, would have led to a lot of people being bankrupt. And unfortunately, some of them are going to be bankrupt for life, because most times in trading, we borrow money to buy, to do trading. Most time we don't use our money to do trading. You borrow money, you buy on credit and all of that. Imagine something that you bought on credit, maybe 1.3 million. Now you're selling it for 800,000. How are you going to cope? How are you going to pay back? For some people, that's not going to happen again. Thank you so much for watching.